Sun standing still. We have so much to cover during this Insights. The city of Gibeah is located about halfway between Jerusalem and Bethel. It was a very important place, a major city, a huge city with mighty warriors. But they knew they didn't have a chance. Now, the other cities around that area, they were going to form an alliance and they were going to fight against it, but this city knew, no, it was not going to happen. And so they went through this deception to save their lives. Now, the vow that Israel made was wrong for them. They shouldn't have done it. God had told them not to, but they didn't ask the Lord, and they made the vow. But once it was made, it was their responsibility to keep it. Once the people realized what had happened, they wanted these people killed. Joshua said, no. We made the vow, and we need to keep it. Matter of fact, hundreds of years later, King Saul came along, and he said, well, Joshua didn't kill him, but I am. He tried to wipe out these people, a story that we'll give you later on called ethnic cleansing. God judged Israel until David was able to go and mete out some justice between those people and Israel. God was not happy with that. The people, as I mentioned before, were mighty warriors. So their punishment was interesting. They were to cut wood and carry water. They were made slaves. But the punishment, this cutting wood and carrying water, was for the tabernacle. That in the worship of those days, that's two things they needed. They needed lots of water and they needed a lot of wood. And so it was these people here. So their punishment was basically to stay close to the tabernacle and to serve the tabernacle and the people there. So it's interesting that these mighty warriors were carrying water and cutting woods, but down through the years, it seems like God builds a relationship with these people. They're right there. They learn so much. As you look at history, you see that the tabernacle moved to several locations, one of which was Gibeah. They actually housed the tabernacle for a long period of time. Also, when Solomon went to the tabernacle at Gibeah, that's where he sacrificed 1,000 sacrifices to the Lord, was right there. One of David's mighty men was from Gibeah, maybe more actually. Also, we have that Nehemiah, when he came to rebuild the walls, it was the Gibeonites that came to help. He didn't want anyone else to help, but the Gibeonites were welcome to come in. There was a special relationship with these people. Well, the battle takes place, and most of Israel said, well, just let them die. No, we have to go, we have to go help them. Joshua decided to travel through the night so he could surprise the Amorites the next morning. Now, they had to go 18 miles uphill. At this point, Gibeah was about 3,500 feet above where they were located. It would take them about 7 hours, but it was in the cool of the night that they did it. So they climbed up. Well, I find it interesting because when they hit the crest and they were able to face the army, the sun was behind them. They had the sun to their advantage in several ways here, but in this case, when they started the battle, the Amorites were facing the sun, and so the Israelites had that slight advantage. A lot of discussion about, what about the sun standing still? Well, there's several things to talk about here. First of all, you have to decide, did it happen? And that's the first thing. And I believe it happened. And so put that aside. Now, how did it happen? And there's a lot of discussion about what actually happened here. This is my viewpoint. I believe that they recorded what they saw. They looked around. It was the sun and the moon stood still. It was right there and it stayed there. They had light to fight the battle through the night. Now, but it also says that it was in that valley. They very specifically say that the sun stood still in that valley, which means it probably didn't happen anywhere else during that time. God was doing something there that was supernatural, but I don't think that God had to change the entire solar system to help the people win that battle. He did something, but I don't know what it is. That's my opinion. The real issue here is there was a second miracle that went on, and that's the hail. More people died from these huge hailstones than from the sword. But think about that. There's more than one people group out there in the battle. These hailstones were targeted. It killed Amorites, but it didn't kill the Israelites that were right there with them. Amazing, the miracle of God as far as the hail is concerned. When we take people to Israel, I love taking them to Emmaus, and we get to a place where we can look out over the valleys that are right there. And one of the valleys, of course, is the Emmaus Road that goes from Jerusalem down to this spot. But as you look at it, we're also looking at the valley where the sun stood still. I always like to point that out to people. Well, after they took care of the southern campaign, they went from city to city conquering it. Finally, they had to turn north. Now, the north organized themselves under one king. It was actually he was like the main king over all the north, and he was the king of Hatzor. Hatzor is located in the Hula Valley, north of the Sea of Galilee. Up farther north from the Sea of Galilee is a little a lake called Hula, and Hatzor is right there in that area. Now, it's one of the major cities of the Old Testament, and you probably didn't know that name, so I'm going to teach it to you right now. And I tell you, if you will go along with me, you'll never forget the name of this town for the rest of your life. It'll be one of the cities in Israel you know. Okay. Put your arm out like this. Get your arm out. Come on. Get your arm up. You have to do this. Okay. Now, imagine there's a sore right there. Now, very carefully, touch the sore. Ooh, it's hot. Do that with me. Do you see the sore? Okay. Ooh, it's hot. We call that a hot sore. Well, at least you won't forget the name of that town. Hatzor had organized all of the north, all the way from the Mediterranean Sea to the Sea of Galilee and going north, it was Israel facing an army their own size. This was a huge army. They no longer had the advantage of people. God had to work a miracle and work with them fighting this mighty, mighty army. Afterwards, they went and conquered the cities. When they came to Hatzor itself, it's one of the 3 cities that Joshua burnt. He didn't burn the cities. He didn't destroy the cities because it was a part of God's promise is that you will live in their cities. You will have vineyards that you didn't plant, orchards that you didn't plant. That was a part of the promise. But these 3 cities he did. It's interesting. This one city, I've explained to you what a tell is. A tell is a mound where the mound was created by city after city being destroyed. When one city is destroyed, they just build on top of it because all the materials are right there. And when that one's destroyed, they build on top of that. Some of them are like 20 cities deep. And so you have these ancient cities, or we call them tells. Hatzor is the largest tell in all of Israel. Remember how I said that Jericho was 10 acres? Hatzor is 200 acres big. It was a huge, huge city, and Joshua had it burnt. Now the Canaanites came back and they rebuilt. They rebuilt the city, but not quite that large. They built a smaller city on top of it, but they still gained great power. Matter of fact, in the time of the judges, they were dominant over a large part of Israel. And it was Deborah and Barak who came, and Barak destroyed the city, and at that point it did transfer over to Israel. Well, so many facts, so many details about this, all of this conquest. But come back next time when we give you more insights on the story.